In 2022, something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. Retirees who had done everything right, saved diligently, worked with a financial advisor, shifted their money into a more conservative mix as they got older, opened their statements and watched in disbelief as both their stocks and their bonds dropped at the same time. The stocks were supposed to grow, the bonds were supposed to protect. Neither one did its job. And if you were pulling money out of that portfolio every single month to pay your bills, which is exactly what retirees do, you were selling at the worst possible time, locking in losses you may never recover from. Today, I want to talk about why bonds failed so many retirees, what the warning signs were that most people missed, and what forward-thinking retirees are now using instead to protect their income. My name is Shonda Prescott, and this is Retirement Security Simplified, because your retirement is too important to leave to chance. Let's start with the basic idea behind bonds, because it's actually pretty simple. When you buy a bond, you're loaning money to a corporation, to the federal government, to a municipality. In exchange, they promise to pay you interest on a regular schedule, and then return your original investment at the end of a set period. That sounds safe, right? And for a long time, in the right environment, it was a reasonable strategy. The classic retirement portfolio model, which many advisors call the 60-40 portfolio, put 60% in stocks for growth and 40% in bonds for stability. The theory was that when stocks had a bad year, bonds would hold their value or even increase, smoothing out the ride and giving retirees a cushion. Bonds also felt responsible. Shifting into bonds as you approach retirement felt like the mature, prudent thing to do. You weren't gambling anymore. You were being careful with your money. That was a promise. Now, let's talk about what actually happened. There are 3 specific ways bonds let retirees down, and I want to walk through each one clearly. The first one is what I call the interest rate problem. Here's something most people don't fully understand about bonds. When interest rates go up, the value of existing bonds goes down. It's not a maybe, it's math. Think of it this way. If you're holding a bond that pays 2% interest and new bonds are being issued at 5%, nobody wants your old bond unless they can buy it at a discount. So the market price of your bond drops. In 2022, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates at the fastest pace in decades, and the bond market had its single worst year in modern history. We're talking losses of 15%, 20%, and in some cases more, on what people believed was the safe side of their portfolio. The second breakdown is the income problem. From roughly 2009 all the way to 2021, interest rates sat at near historic lows. The Federal Reserve kept rates close to zero in the aftermath of the financial crisis and throughout the pandemic. During that entire period, bond yields were so low that they were almost meaningless. A 10-year Treasury bond might have been paying around 1.5% to 2%. Meanwhile, inflation was quietly running at 3%, 4%, and even spiking to over 8% in 2022. In real terms, retirees holding bonds during that stretch were losing purchasing power every single year. The paycheck they were counting on from their bonds was buying them less and less groceries, less and less gas, and less of everything. The third breakdown, and this one is critical, is the sequence of returns problem. Here's what makes retirement fundamentally different from the accumulation years when you were just saving and growing your money. In retirement, you're withdrawing from your portfolio every single month. You have bills to pay. You have a life to fund. When the market drops during the working years, You can simply wait for it to recover. You don't sell, you stay the course. Time is on your side. But in retirement, you don't have that luxury. When your portfolio drops, you still need to pull money out, which means you're selling shares, whether it's stocks or bonds, at depressed prices. And every dollar you pull out at a low point is a dollar that no longer is there to participate in the recovery. In 2022, stocks and bonds dropped simultaneously. There was nowhere to hide inside a traditional portfolio. Retirees were hit from both sides at once, and they were still writing checks every month. That is what sequence of returns looks like in real life, and bonds were supposed to be the buffer against exactly that scenario. They weren't. So if bonds can't reliably protect your income in retirement, what can? I want to be straightforward with you because that's what this channel is about. There is no single product that is perfect for every situation, but there is one category of product that is specifically designed to do what bonds were supposed to do, and then some. That product is a fixed indexed annuity, or FIA. Now, I know the word annuity makes some people nervous. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So let me just walk you through what a fixed indexed annuity actually does. First, your principal is protected. If the market goes down, your account value does not go down because of market losses. That protection is written into the contract. It's not a hope or a forecast. It's a guarantee from an insurance company. Second, your money has the opportunity to grow. A fixed indexed annuity links your interest credits to the performance of a market index, like the S&P 500, through what are called participation rates and cap rates. When the index goes up, you can earn interest. When the index goes down, you earn zero, but you don't lose. Zero is your floor. Third, and this is where fixed indexed annuity genuinely outperforms bonds. You have the option to add what's called a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit, or GLWB rider. This turns your annuity into a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live and regardless of what happens in the market. A bond cannot promise you that. A bond has a maturity date. A bond can default. A bond does not guarantee that your income continues if you live to age 95. And here's another key distinction worth noting. When interest rates rise, the same scenario that crushed bonds in 2022, your fixed index annuity does not lose value. Your principal stays intact. You're not exposed to interest rate risk the way traditional bond investors are. Now, I do want to briefly mention a couple of other alternatives that people sometimes consider, so you have the complete picture. Treasury I-bonds and TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, can play a modest role in hedging against inflation, but I-bonds come with annual purchase limits, and both options have liquidity restrictions that can make them inconvenient for retirees who need regular access to their money. CD ladders are another option, and they work well for short-term cash reserves. If you need money in the next 1 to 3 years, a CD ladder is a reasonable place to park it. But a CD does not provide lifetime income. When the CD matures, you get your money back and you have to figure out what to do with it next. None of these alternatives accomplish what a properly structured fixed indexed annuity with an income rider accomplishes: protecting your principal, giving your money the opportunity to grow, and guaranteeing that your income continues for as long as you live. Before I finish this video, I want to spend a moment on something I think is actually more important than any specific product. The real issue isn't just that bonds underperformed. The real issue is that most retirees are still using an accumulation mindset in the distribution phase of their lives. During your working years, success was measured by how much your portfolio grew. A bigger number on your statement meant you were doing well. But in retirement, what actually matters is income. Predictable, reliable, guaranteed income that covers your essential expenses every single month, no matter what the market does, no matter what interest rates do, no matter how long you live. Here's the concept I want you to hold on to: the income floor. When your essential monthly expenses, your mortgage or rent, your utilities, your groceries, your healthcare costs, are covered by guaranteed income sources, market volatility becomes far less threatening. If Social Security is covering part of your needs and a guaranteed income rider from a fixed indexed annuity is covering the rest, your floor is solid. You don't have to panic when the market drops 20% because your bills are still paid. Your lifestyle is still funded. Bonds were an attempt to create stability inside a portfolio. A guaranteed income rider creates stability outside the market entirely. That's a fundamentally different and far more reliable form of protection. Let me bring this all together. Bonds were built for a different era. They worked reasonably well when interest rates were stable and predictable and when retirees didn't live as long as they do today. But the world has changed. Retirees are living longer. Interest rates have proven to be volatile. And the idea that bonds will automatically protect you in a down market was exposed as unreliable in 2022. What actually protects retirees is a combination of three things: principal protection, growth potential, and guaranteed lifetime income. That combination exists. It is available today, and it's worth a serious look if you're within 5 to 10 years of retirement or already in retirement and you're still relying heavily on bonds for your safety net. If anything I've shared today resonated with you, please get the free booklet called "For Those Who Want to Prosper and Thrive in Retirement." Check out the link in the description box to get that information. If this video was helpful, please give it a like, share it with someone who's approaching retirement, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. This is Retirement Security Simplified, where we specialize in turning confusion into confidence, one conversation at a time.